right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rachak Wadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutation, much respect and love to you brothers out there pushing this word out in truth and sincerity, man. Okay? All praises and glory and honors due to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rachak Wadash, again, okay? Now, the first thing I want to get into, so I want to get into the fact that Vocab was saying that the prophets basically saying that Paul didn't lie. Okay, when he was coming up against coming up to what's his name? Hold on, let me get the name right here. All right, but he was in the court. He was coming up before him, and the reason he said what he said is because he knew he was about to face death, man. All right, so he was using subtleties. Okay, the scriptures speak about using subtlety, man. All right, if the police come to hem you up, right now, you're not just going to curse them out, telling them they're Edomites. For the most part, you're going to try and use subtlety, okay? So let me get that real quick. Okay, this is when Paul was before Agrippa, okay? And we know Agrippa was an Edomite, and we know the judgment for Edomites, all right? The judgment for Edomites in the future is that they're going to be put into slavery, all right? This is Acts 26 and verse 1. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, Thou art permitted to speak for thyself. Then Paul stretched forth the hand and answered for himself, I think myself happy, King Agrippa, because I shall answer for myself this day before thee, touching all the things whereof I am accused of the Jews, especially because I know thee to be expert in all customs and questions which are among the Jews. Wherefore I beseech thee to hear me patiently by the manner of life from my youth, which was at the first among mine own nation, at Jerusalem, know all the Jews. So basically, he's pleading his case, man. He's telling them how he grew up. He's telling them what happened to him. He's telling them the vision of when Yahushua knocked him off the horse and he was blinded for 3 days. He told them all of that. Okay. So when you jump down, start at verse 27. Okay, I'll jump down to 27. And then he said, King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets? Matter of fact, I'll start at verse 26. It says, For the king knoweth of these things, before whom also I speak freely. For I am persuaded that none of these things are hidden from him. For this thing was not done in a corner. King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets? I know that thou believest. All right. So basically, he's beguiling him, man. Because at the end of the day, these Edomites don't believe in the Most High. King Agrippa didn't really believe in the prophecies, man. All right. Because when you go back to his father Herod, who was an Edomite, okay, he tried to kill the firstborn, like the children under 2 years old, man. Okay, that was coming out of Jerusalem. Why? Because the Messiah was coming. All right. So we know that these devils don't believe. And if we jump down to verse 28 now, then Agrippa said unto Paul, Almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian. And Paul said, I would to the Most High that not only thou, but also all that hear me this day were both almost and altogether such as I am, except these bonds. Okay, so he's basically saying that I wish that everyone in this room was like me, right? In other words, he had the spirit on them, except for these bonds. But Paul knew that obviously an Edomite cannot get the Spirit. He was just saying that in order to gain favor, man. He was brown-nosing, so to speak, man. Okay? And he said, and he said, and when he had thus spoken, the king rose up, and the governor and Bernice, and they that sat with them, and when they were gone aside, they talked between themselves, saying, this man doth nothing worthy of death or of bonds. Okay? Then said Agrippa unto Festus, this man might have been set at liberty if he had not appealed unto Caesar. Okay? So basically he would have let him free. You see? So what Paul was doing worked, man. Okay? He was basically using subtlety, saying, trying to brown nose, and it worked because he would have let him go if it didn't appeal to Caesar. You see? And that's not the only instance in the scriptures where a prophet or a man of the Lord lied or was deceptive in order to escape a situation, man. Okay? When you read the account of King David pretended he was retarded. Okay? Pretended he had down, like basically he was retarded, mentally ill, in order to escape the king of one of the Hamite kings, man. All right? See? So it's not unusual for a man of the Lord to do that. Matter of fact, I'll get Genesis 20, but that shows you where Abraham did the same thing, man. All right? He was being deceptive in order to save his life at that point in time. This is Genesis 20. This is Genesis 20 and verse 1. And it said, and Abraham journeyed from thence toward the south country, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, she is my sister. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah, right? So he lied right there. He said that Sarah was my sister. Why? Because when you read in another chapter, he said that he feared that the king of Egypt would murder Abimelech, would put him to death, okay, for his wife, right? Knowing that you can't marry a man's wife, because even the heathen knew the law of the scriptures, man. They knew the oral law that was passed down from generations, man, okay? And they knew that sleeping with a man's wife is a great offense, all right? And he said, and Abraham said of Sarah his wife, she is my sister. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But the Most High came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, behold, thou art but a dead man. For the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, Lord, wilt thou slay also a righteous nation? Said he not unto me, she is my sister? And she herself said, he is my brother, because he asked her to say that, man. All right, Abraham asked her to say that she was his sister, in order to play along, man. Okay, so that he wouldn't be put to death. And it says, in the integrity of my heart and innocency of my hands have I done this. And the Most High said unto him in a dream, yea, I know that thou didst this in the integrity of thine heart, for I also withheld thee from sinning against me. Therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. Okay, because like I said, man, there's certain times where the Spirit will allow you to be deceptive, man. Okay, like with Jacob, man. Jacob was deceptive in two accounts, man. But he was a man of the Lord, man. The Most High was dealing with Jacob. His name was changed to Israel, which means he is a son of God, or he is a prince of God. Okay? So that means that the Most High was dealing with him. But what did he do? He basically deceived his father into giving him the blessing from his brother Esau. He also deceived Laban with those sheep. Okay? Right? Because Laban, when he was leaving, what he did was he painted over the sheep that were blemished. He painted them overall white, so that it looked like they were not blemished, and he gave that to Laban, and he took all the good ones for himself, man. Okay? And he did that because Laban deceived him when it came to getting Leah before he got Rachel. All right, so that's just to show you that it all depends. It's all through the spirit of what a man does, man. Okay, these men, when these Muslims, when they think about the Most High and the prophets, they think that they're floating in the lotus position. They don't sin. They never lie. They never do this. They never do that. But there's certain instances where great prophets, great men of the Lord did that, man. Okay, because at the end of the day, they're men. You see, the people that the Most High chose were men at the end of the day, man. They weren't angels. They weren't people who came down directly from heaven. You see, they were men. So they were fighting the flesh same way. Okay. And like I gave the example also of King David. I did a lesson today. I give the example of King David. He committed like three sins unto death, man. 3 grievous sins, man. But the Most High still had mercy on him. And that's the top man under Yahushua. So that's to show you that the men of the Lord also do commit those type of sins, man. All right. But now the point being, you were saying that that Paul wanted Agrippa not to be in chains, or Paul didn't want Agrippa to be in chains. Paul was just using subtlety, man. He was being deceptive, man. Of course he wanted Agrippa in chains because that's the prophecy. At the end of the day, all Edomites are going to be put into slavery, man. Okay? That's according to the prophecy. Matter of fact, let me get something on there real quick. This is Isaiah 14, and I'll start at verse 1. It says, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." So that goes for all Edomites, man. Okay? Because the nation of Esau, Edom as a whole, had us in slavery. It doesn't matter which. Oh no, well my forefathers they didn't actually own slaves. Whatever, that doesn't matter. It's not about that. Your whole nation is going to be judged, man. Okay, according to the Bible. All right. Let me read that again. Okay. It says, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." So that's plain and simple, man. There's nothing confusing about that, man. You don't need a private interpretation of that. That means who put the Israelites in slavery is going to go in slavery. And we're the Israelites. So you can do the math about that, man. All right? And it says, "And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve." Okay, so that's when all this hell that Israel, our people, are catching as a whole, that's going to stop, man. All right, when Yahushua comes back. Okay, because what we're going to do is we're gonna put these other nations in slavery, starting with the so-called white people. All right, these Edomites, because that's the #1 enemy of the Most High according to the Bible. Okay, so let's get Revelations 13 verse 9. This is Revelations 13 and verse 9. It says, "If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity." Did not the Edomites lead us into captivity? Captivity is another way of saying slavery. Okay? Really, the Bible is very clear cut. But the fact that these people don't know how to put precept upon precept and really break it down, that's what makes it confusing to them. Oh, it contradicts. It doesn't contradict in any point. It's that you don't have the understanding of it. Okay? Every time they come up to us with some question, like when Vocab came yesterday, right, to the brothers in Dallas, they destroyed him, man. He came with 1,000 questions. They answered every question, precept upon precept, man. Because the Most High gave us the Spirit, man. Okay? It says, "He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints." So when they came over here to the Native Americans, which are Israelites, they're from the tribe of Gad, all right? What did they do? They killed them with the sword. Right? Does not the scripture say that Gad shall overcome, the truth shall overcome him, but Gad shall overcome at the last day? This is the last days that we're speaking about. The Native Americans will get their payback, man. And the so-called Negroes, and the so-called Latinos, man. All right? All the Israelites are going to get their payback. All right? The big payback is coming. And these Edomites know it. All right? That's why I said this is the patience and the faith of the saints, man. Because we've been patiently waiting for that, man. Speaking about the brothers in this truth, man. We've been patiently waiting to bring that vengeance upon our enemies, man. Okay? The Most High didn't mince words, man. He didn't mince words when he said that there's going to be vengeance upon the heathen, man. He said that's very straight cut, man. All right. So how can the heathen get vengeance but at the same time get salvation? You understand? It doesn't make sense. That's where the contradiction comes in. All right. Let's get Psalms real quick. This is Psalms 83, and I'll start at verse 1. It says, keep not thou silence, O Most High. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. All right, and who's the people of the Most High? The Israelites, man. The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. So what did? They took crafty counsel. When they have these meetings, these UN meetings and things like that, you're not included in that, okay? The fact of when it came to slavery, there was a bunch of different nations who conspired in that, all right? The top nation that conspired in that was the so-called white people, all right? The Edomites, according to the Bible, all right? But also there was other nations that was involved in that. You see? So the Most High said they consulted together against thy hidden ones, against thy people. You see? And it says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. In other words, that they won't remember who they are. Right? Because they called us black, Latino, all these different names, Native American, right? But that was not our name that the Most High gave us. That was not the name that we were calling ourselves. Right? We were the Israelites from our respective tribes, man. Okay? The fact that Esau, when you watch the movie Roots, I didn't watch the new one, but the old school movie Roots with this series, they showed you that, man. The man used to say his name was, what was his name? Kunta Kinte, and he was beating him, right? And to the point where he changed his name to Toby, man. He said, no, your name is Toby. So, so he could only withstand so much of those lashes, right? To the point where he gave in, man. So that was part of them beating that heritage out of us, man. All right? And it says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom. So it starts with the Edomites. The Edomites are you so-called white people, in case you didn't know, man. You descend from Edom, all right? Your biblical nationality is Edom, all right? Our biblical nationality is Israel, right? When it goes into Moab, that's speaking about the so-called Chinese, all right? Ishmael would be the so-called Arabs, okay? So on and so forth. And it says, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, right? Jabal and Ammon, right? Ammon would be the so-called Japanese, all right? And Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, okay? Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor, they became as dung for the earth. All right, so Asaph is asking the Most High to judge these nations, man. All right, he's not saying forgive and forget. He's saying the judgment has to come, and it's gonna come. Okay, the judgment will surely come. The scriptures speak about judgment. It speaks about he who leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, man. There's no unbalance in the Most High. Okay, you do some wickedness around the earth, then guess what? Wait for that reward. You reap what you sow. All right? Right? All the genocide that you devils have done across the planet Earth, that has to be answered for, man. All right? Matter of fact, let me get something real quick. Let's get on Jeremiah the 49th chapter. This is Jeremiah 49. Let's start at verse 12. And it says, for thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunk it. And we drank of the cup, man. The Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, we drank of that cup, all right? Which was what? Slavery, right? Genocide, all these different things that these devils try to put on us, man, all right? So we drank of that cup. And it says, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? So that has happened to us. Are you going to be the one so-called white people to go unpunished? Because that's the main people it's speaking to, these devils, all right? Are you going to go unpunished? That's what the Bible's asking you, man. Are you going to go unpunished for all your wickedness, man? All right? Let's see. It says, thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. So the Most High said you're going to surely drink of that cup. He didn't say you might drink of it. No, maybe they'll go into slavery. No, it's a guarantee, all right? After this World War III, the next step for you devils is slavery, man, all right? Because in the midst of the World War III, according to the prophecies, Yahushua is going to come back, man. I'm sure you people have heard of the UFO sightings that have been happening. We've been telling you about UFOs for the longest time, man. All right? But now it's coming out. Now the military is writing reports about them seeing these things, man. That's the chariots of the Heavenly Father, man. And that's part of our salvation. Okay? So when you see that, you should be scared, man. Speaking to you other nations. When you see those lights in the sky, right? That can get smaller and get bigger, that can disappear, reappear. That's the chariots of the Most High. Okay? That's our chariots, man. And that's what the Lord's gonna come back in. Let's get Zechariah the 5th chapter since I'm on that. All right? You know? Because everything's a joke until you see it, man. Right? When you watch a movie, everything's jovial, man. Everything's jovial until that time happens. Until the climax happens, if it's a movie about, let's say, destruction, right? Or Independence Day, right? Everything was cool until they seen that chariot in the sky, man. All right? That's how it's going to be in this time, man. Everything's going to be cool. People are going to be chilling, partying, all right? Having fun, smoking weed, doing whatever madness and wickedness they do. And then the party's going to be over, man. All right? This is Zechariah 5 and verse 1. It says, then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying robe. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying robe. And the length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off on that side according to it. All right, so that's speaking about a chariot, man. All right, a so-called UFO. That's what Zechariah was seeing. Okay. But the thing is this, he said that what? It's the curse that goeth about the whole earth, and everyone that stealeth. And how did you get this land, man? All right? This is the evidence, man. The fact that Yahushua is going to come back, he's going to see you have this land in your possession. That's going to be the evidence to show you that you're guilty, man. One of the evidences, all right? The fact that we have social security numbers shows you that you still have the Israelites in captivity, man. All right? Because that's nothing but a slave number, so to speak, man. All right? Because sovereign people don't have social security numbers. Okay? So when Yahushua comes back and he sees all these things, that's going to be a witness against you, man. All right?
When I was looking for apartments, they were going to
let's get Numbers the 35th chapter real quick. Okay? There's even a scripture in the law that says if a man stealeth a man and he be found in his hand, the man shall be put to death. Right? So if you look on a bigger scale, these Edomites stole us, right? So when Yahweh Shai comes back, guess what? He's going to start putting you Edomites to death. All right? This is Numbers 35 and verse 33. And it says, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. Is this whole land not defiled by blood? North America, right? Even when you go down to the South America, all right? Is that not all defiled by blood? Have you not spilled innocent blood on these lands? Right? Did you not wait till the Native Americans went out to go hunt and kill the women and children? Is that not part of your history? Right? But you try to act like you're humanitarians all of a sudden, man. Okay? We're pulling your card, man. We're calling you out on your wickedness, man. All right? And it says, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So that means the people who shed that blood, their blood has to be shed, man. It's very simple, man. It's not rocket science, man. All right? If you shed blood and defile a land, your blood has to be shed in order to cleanse that land. Okay? So that's the judgment for you Edomites, man. Okay? Because you stole this land. You know that it was based upon bloodshed. You go to America, there was nothing but bloodshed there. Not only for the so-called Native Americans, but then you have the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latinos. You shed a lot of blood of those people as well, man. And you're still doing it today. So the Most High said, what? Your blood has to be shed. That's according to the Bible, man. All right? Matter of fact, let's get hold up. Obadiah 1 verse 10. It says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, right? Who's this speaking to? It's speaking to the Edomites, you so-called white people, all right? Your biblical nationality is Edomites, all right? You're not white. There's no such nation as white people. Like there's no such nation as black people, okay? There's the nations are written in the scriptures. There's 18 nations in the Bible, man, all right? You come from the nation of Edom. We come from the nation of Israel, all right? So it says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, and we know that they've shown us nothing but violence, right? Slavery. To this day, you have these cops that'll shoot a so-called black man, all right, or a Latino with handcuffs on, man, all right? Or they'll wait till he turns his back, all right? And then they'll shoot him in his back, okay? If he's running away or whatever, man. So there's a lot of blood, even to this day, that you devils are shedding, okay? It said, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever, man. So the shame is covering you now. That's why you have Antifa, man. Antifa is a result of your shame, man. Don't be giving these Antifa people who fighting for so-called democracy no props, man. Speak to you so-called black people, you so-called Latinos and Native Americans, because they weren't doing that in the time when you needed it the most, man. Okay? They're doing that now because they're feeling ashamed of their past, man. They're feeling ashamed of what their forefathers have done. All right? Which is what the scripture said. Okay? Because before that, they called, that's where they get the word picnic from, man. Picnic was based upon them lynching a so-called black person, man. All right? Just pick a random black person and lynch it, right? And cut off his members. That's history, man. All right? And then they would send postcards to their families, right? And I have a picture of that right here, okay? Them doing that shit, all right? So these devils weren't ashamed of that before. But now you have these devils putting their head down because the whole world is seeing them for what they are. Okay? But there's still a judgment, man. You ain't gonna just walk into the sunset. You kidding me? That's why your kingdom is falling as we speak, man. All right? It says, matter of fact, let me jump to verse 18. This is going to be the ultimate judgment for you Edomites, man. And this is how we know Paul wasn't saying to Agrippa that he didn't want him to be in chains. Paul wanted Agrippa to be in chains, man. Okay? He was being subtle with it. Okay? This is verse 18. It says, this is the future, you so-called white people in the kingdom of heaven. So listen up, man. It says, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau, the Edomites, okay, for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken. So that means that in the kingdom of heaven, there's going to be a day after you serve your punishment of slavery that you're going to be exterminated, man. Okay? Because your purpose on this earth was to be the wicked, to destroy the earth, right? Right? To destroy the planet Earth, pollute the earth, to steal people's lands, right? To commit genocide. That was your purpose. Now your purpose is basically finished. Okay? So when the kingdom of heaven happens, after a certain period of time, we're not going to need you around no more. Matter of fact, let me get Isaiah 14. It's going to prove that. And I know you Edomites don't want to hear this. I know you want to live in your fantasy world, but you can continue to live in that. Okay? But at the end of the day, reality is going to hit you, man. And I promise you that. Okay? Let's get it. This is Isaiah 14. This is Isaiah 14 and verse 3. No, matter of fact, I'll start at verse... Matter of fact, I'll start at verse 4. It says that thou shalt take up this parable against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger, right? I'm speaking about the Edomites, man. Okay? Is persecuted and none hinder it. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. So the whole earth is going to be at rest once these Edomites are taken out of power, man. Okay? That's when you're going to have a peaceful world, man. You're going to have no peaceful world as long as these devils continue to rule. It's impossible, man. All right? The greed that these devils have, it's unprecedented, man. Okay? They go to every nation, and what they do is they set up economic hitmen. What those economic hitmen do is they force these other nations to take loans, all right, that they can't pay back because they put on some crazy interest rate on it. That's what these devil, so-called white people is who I'm speaking about, in case you didn't know, man. All right? And you put on crazy interest loans on it where they can't pay it back. And then that nation ends up having to give them their natural resources. There's no reason why a nation, like, for example, Venezuela, there's no reason why that place shouldn't be a rich nation, man. Or a nation with enough abundance to take care of itself with all the oil reserves in that place, man. All right? And the different natural resources. But because of the devil, right? Because of the so-called white man coming and setting up his policy and forcing them to take certain loans. And he knows which nations he can bully, man, because he knows who has the strong military might. He's not going to go and do that to China. All right? He's not going to go and try and do that to Iran. You see? He does it to the nations he knows he can bully. Okay? That's what the so-called white man's been doing since he came into power, man. All right? So that's why I said, once this devil's brought down, taken out of power, that's when peace is going to be on the earth, man. When we're in power, man. The Israelites. Okay? Let's get Habakkuk the 2nd chapter, man. Since I'm on you Edomites, man. Let's get it. This is Habakkuk. You know, and you Edomites should want to know your future, man. We're giving you insight to the future. All right? We're giving you your judgment. We're giving you what's going to happen to you in the near future. You should want to know these things, man. All right? Just like our people, the Israelites, should want to know that for themselves, man. Okay? This is Habakkuk 2, and I'll start at verse 4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. Right? But the just shall live by faith. So the scriptures are saying the soul of the so-called white man is not upright in him. So can you change everybody? You got so-called Negroes in America trying to march. Every time someone gets shot, they're trying to fucking march, man. A waste of goddamn time, man. All right? A waste of time, a waste of energy, man. All right? When are you gonna realize that this man is the devil? That's all you gotta do is realize this man is the devil, and he's not gonna show righteousness, man. All right? You don't gotta go and march about justice, no peace, because there's still peace after the injustices, man. All right? So it's a big joke. The reason he wants you to do that is because he wants you to be non-threatening. That's why he pushes that Martin Luther King, that demon, down your throat, man. And that guy was nothing but a sellout coon, man. That's all he was, man. All right? And I'm glad that he got killed, man. All right? All the brothers on the other side are glad that he got put to death, because that was judgment of the Heavenly Father, man. All right? Because he was nothing but a coon. And what he was doing was, he was, like he said in his last speech, when he started to feel bad about bringing you Negroes into that mind state, he said, I feel like I'm bringing my people into a burning building. They don't ever tell you that speech. They always tell you about this, I wish I had a dream bullshit speech, man. All right? I had a dream. All right? They don't tell you about the dream where the speech where he said, I feel like I'm bringing my people into a burning building. Because he knew you devils, once you got a hold of them, what's going to happen now? They control your music. They control your food. What do you have now, man? In the black neighborhoods, man. In the Latino neighborhoods. You have gangs. You have nothing but gangster rap music, drugs. And when you look back into the origins of all that, who put that there, man? The devil. Okay? The devil. And there's all type of information and documentaries on that, man. All right? Freeway Ricky Ross, the guy who Rick Ross got his name from, he came out and said that. I was a government implant, man. The government gave me the drugs, man, to give to the community. And you're giving it to poor people who don't have no fucking hope. What do you think they're going to do with it, man? They're going to look at it. If it's profitable, they're going to do something with it. Now that's destruction of the community. This is why you so-called white people are going to go into slavery, man. This is why that's your future. Because all this wickedness that you've done across the planet Earth, man. And we're calling you out on that, man. Because you have our people who are sick in the fucking brain, all right? Speaking about you so-called Negroes, you Latinos, you Native Americans, who love this fucking gringo, man. This fucking devil, man. All right? Telling their daughters and sons to marry fucking crackers, man. The Most High is going to judge you too, man. Any of you fucking tribes that are doing that, the Most High is going to bring death upon you too, man. All right? And your children. Matter of fact, let's get that. Let's get that real quick. Let's get that in Isaiah 65, man. All right? We got a lot of sellout, weak coons amongst our nations, man. All right? Let's get that. This is Isaiah 65 and verse... I'll start at verse 11. But ye are they that forsake the Lord, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish a drink offering unto that number. And the troopers represent these Edomites, these so-called white people. When the scripture says that the Gadites, which are the Native Americans,